WWE has gone totally mad. If you need more evidence of that, just go and look at the last 24 hours. Because all these things happen on Raw, right? CM Punk and John Cena had a proper confrontation, and they've got a match booked for Night of Champions. If you had told someone that 6 months ago, they would have had a meltdown. Bayley returned, which was a cool return. Everyone wants to see Bayley. Asuka was announced that she's going to be back next week. And then at the end of the show, Gunther beat Jey Uso to become a brand new World Heavyweight Champion. And R-Truth, Ron Killings, I should say, excuse me as I do a weird hesitation there, arguably cut one of the best promos of his life, I mean, if I'm exaggerating there a little bit, to do all of this after the week that man has gone through is totally wild, is totally nuts, and I actually think it's impossible. Let's try and break these down into segments if we can. The Oscar thing was really cool, right? I loved it. Somebody said that WWE spoiled this with the women's brackets, but there was an Oscar video on the show, wasn't there? I'm a bit worried I made that up in my own head. I'm pretty sure this was just the way to do it. It all depends whether she wins or not. I mean, you could argue about surprises, and sometimes you do need to promote people, right? I, for one, am someone that is pleased that Oscar has been announced, because on Sunday night or Monday next week, I'll be like, oh man, Oscar's coming back, because, I mean, not now, only because she's been away for so long, but at one point, she was the best women's wrestler in the world, as far as I'm concerned. It wasn't even an argument, and as like an entire entity, I think she's untouchable. So that's a huge tick. Bayley coming back in the like Valkyria, who the flub is that, and Becky Lynch segment was really interesting in the way that they did it, because she attacked Becky Lynch from behind, which you can argue is a heel move. At first, because Lyra had come out to be like, oh, Becky, you son of a gun, she was almost causing the distraction, whether she meant to or not. And then after the fact, I don't think she knew Bayley was going to be there, but she did throw Becky Lynch back in there to take Bayley's finishing move. So all of a sudden, that becomes a three-way program, and I like that especially because I predicted that on my Money in the Bank review video, because I'm a massive nerd and nobody should watch me. So that all of a sudden opens the door for not only that to be an excellent program, because those three are top-tier talents, but also over the IC Championship. Do you know what it's going to do for that title? Which, like, what was it, like 8 months ago, 9 months ago, if it even existed back then? But in the early days, they forgot about it for ages, WWE, much like they have the women's tag team titles, and it totally sucked. So that was awesome. And then, yes, maybe our two, well, it's the beginning and ending of a show for a reason, right? Jey Uso and Gunther was one of those things that reminds me, hopefully reminds everybody, what weekly wrestling TV should be. I've seen some people going, oh, I can't believe Jey Uso lost. Oh, I can't believe we did this on free television. These are the things that you should be feeling, not the free television thing. That's nuts. Why would you want to pay extra money to see something? But wrestling is entertainment, it's drama, it's a comedy, but it should always make you feel something. And I felt so damn sad when Gunther did exactly what he was going to do. Now, if you watch my content, you know I have a bee in my bonnet about distractions, interferences, and confusion. You know what that spells. I'm not going to do it here. You can abbreviate it should you do so wish. Only because I think WWE's got too carried away with it. And I think this was summed up here even more because Gunther just beat him. Now, the extra caveat, and what is so damn good, is that Jey Uso actually does have an out that we built into the story over the last 6 to 8 weeks, whenever the hell WrestleMania 41 was. Jey Uso is too nice of a guy. Gunther told him this. You're too nice. You're helping Sami Zayn. You're helping CM Punk. You're trying to take down John Cena. You don't like Logan Paul. You're even jumping shows and trying to help Cody Rhodes. All this is going to be your undoing. Your tum-tum's not going to be able to take it, and I will work on that tum-tum and I will choke you out. And the man was right. And it hurts that he was right because he's meant to be the bad guy. But at the same time, you can have love and all the, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, for Jey, because he's the good guy. And every single thing he did with good intent. If you haven't seen it, go and listen to the promo he cut after the cameras had gone off air with his son in the ring. Of course, his son was there for the match as well. It's just wonderful all around. And I would go out there, and this is going to make me sound like a right ass hat, that him losing has actually done him the world of good because he's become an even bigger babyface and he's got even more sympathy, and I love him even more than I did. That's a hard thing to pull off. You have to be a certain individual to do that. But I just thought it was awesome. And the match had jeopardy. Well, actually didn't have jeopardy, really. I think for about 3/4 of this, the fans are like, Gunther's never going to win. So I suppose that's a feather in Triple H's cap for not doing it too often, but he also doesn't do it enough. Like, if you want to compare it to Game of Thrones, I suppose, the Red Wedding episode, I think the reason that one is so important, if I remember this correctly, because the 2 episodes before that are boring. Nothing happens. So when all of a sudden you get that shot on the arm, and Raw did need a shot on the arm. I don't think the show ever got bad, but I kind of do agree with some of the critiques that maybe it become a bit laborious and a little bit obvious. Nothing was obvious about this show, which is why I'm glad we didn't hold Oscar off for next week. Just get it all in here. Sometimes it does need to be like a Reddit fantasy thread that just smacks you right in the face. And yeah, I felt things at the end of this Gunther Jey Uso stuff. I just can't believe it. And Jey Uso was a sacrificial lamb. How much have we talked about this? Somebody was going to have to be the dude that barely held the title for a long amount of time. And let's say that there was only like 2 weeks at the end of April. So we went through all of May, and we've done a week of June. So that's 37 days. Let's give him 2 weeks-ish, really. So maybe 60 days he held that title. I'm probably either exaggerating one way or the other. But no more than 70, I don't think. 70? All the most recent ones have been 1,316, 398, whatever it may be. Even Gunther's racked up massive reigns. I know that Drew McIntyre held his belt for 4 minutes, but that was a completely different situation. And that was done for other reasons. But I just think it keeps you on your tootsie toes. And now when you do watch matches for the next month at least, you'll be like, what are we going to do here? It's really smart. And of course, Sami Zayn won his qualifier against whoever the flub it was. LA Knight got involved in that too, because again, distraction, interference, confusion. But that was actually a really good distraction, because it seems like he's going to be feuding with Seth Rollins' group, which is awesome. It meant that Sami Zayn won, and as soon as Gunther had got this sleeper hold, I thought I was being some kind of wrestling savant. And then, well, on the internet, everybody had this, so I'm not that clever at all. I was like, oh my gosh, Sami Zayn's going to win King of the Ring. He's going to defeat Gunther at SummerSlam, and Seth Rollins is going to cash in his money in the bank to take away the most wondrous thing in the world. And it ties back to all those conversations that Sami Seth had back in November for Survivor Series. And if we do that, that is top tier stuff. So I thought it was brilliant. And if you're angry at it, I think that's a good thing. Sometimes you should be angry at your art, entertainment, medium, genre, thingamajig. Can't always be happies and smiles and peaches and rainbows and skipping through fields and looking at fairies. Sometimes you have to feel like, man, I'm so mad, or I'm angry, or I'm sad, which actually is a great segue into the R-Truth stuff, now Ron Killings. Because, man, did he just spanned all the topics. He's back because of everybody, right? Because of you, because of me, because of the fans, because of the wrestlers, all making a noise. And I don't think that your voice doesn't matter. I don't think that you don't matter, because you do and you can change the world. But really, now that he does have the opportunity, he's no sideshow, he's no comedy act. He's sick of basically being called that, which John Cena did in his opening promo. And this is how I took it. Maybe I'm reading too far into it, too much nuance in my stupid brain. But that's one of the reasons he got let go. So he's not going to do that anymore. That's why he's getting rid of R-Truth, who is a happy-go-lucky, forgivable guy. And he's going back to a dude that will murder you. Go and listen to what he said during the What Chance and look that up in case you don't know what it means. But the way he kind of just moved it into fire and angry, and I saw the criticism. It's like we all love him so much. We all wanted him back because he's a comedy character. I don't think that's fair. I think it's one of the reasons we did love him, in the sense he never took himself too seriously. He's always wanted to send himself up. And as I said, when wrestling was crap, he could always be the one person you could rely on to put a smile on your face. But it goes deeper than that, especially if you truly like, his name is Ron Killings, as I found out yesterday. If you truly like Ron Killings, and all of a sudden you think he's going to get one last WWE run as a serious guy, as Ron the Truth Killings, that's even more exciting. I know at any point he can go back to being a comedy guy, a funny guy, making me laugh. But now let's see what he can do. Was he 53 years old, I think? As, like I say, a proper, serious, going after titles, I'm making that up, whatever it may be, like a proper wrestler, for lack of a better term. I think that is the best evolution that we could have done. Of course, you can go back to the other stuff, which you still can do if this doesn't work. But let's give it a go, and let's try and give this man a send-off. If you want to look at wrestling like any kind of other career or any kind of job, he has invested so much of his time. Here comes that terrible word, deserves the opportunity to go out of WWE, at least on his own terms. Thought it was awesome. The man cut his hair on live TV. That is so powerful, and for other reasons. My gosh, if you research the history of that. But to do that, and I mean, who knows what his look's going to be next week? Maybe shaves this off entirely. I do not know, but I just thought it was awesome, and it gets me excited. Who's the first person he's going to feud with? We know John Cena is going to be preoccupied with CM Punk. Is R-Truth going to be the guy that gets involved there? Is he going to get involved with somebody else? Is he going to go after an IC title? Does he hate Seth Rollins? I don't know. He can do whatever the flub he wants, but it's exciting, ultimately. And even if it is crap, who cares? When it was done, I was pumped to see what we are going to do. That's all wrestling is. Get people all hyped up and then try and do better next week. And if you can't, go, oh, well, shrug emoji and move on. And then, yes, there's all this CM Punk, John Cena stuff, which has taken on a life of its own. As always, and I've said this on many a video, we're going to try and focus on the television aspect of proceedings, just because I think when we get too distracted with the other stuff, and that conversation should be had. That's not what I'm saying. I just do not believe that's the kind of content you tune in to hear me talk about. And if I'm wrong, you can drop me a comment down there, or you can come sign up for my Patreon, patreon.com. What a terrible segue. /Simon316. We did just put up the brand new watch along. It is an R-Truth match. And I gotta say, even someone messaged me this, the vote for this week's match is fantastic. And obviously that's your choice. So you can go and sign up and see what I've done there. Now, it is happening in Saudi Arabia, right? Instantly going to be the topic of conversation that a lot of people have. At the same time, it is John Cena versus CM Punk. So I actually think if you're a bit like, oh man, it's happening in Saudi Arabia, because sometimes those shows can feel a little bit like glorified house shows. I totally understand that. We're going to have to wait and see. Is the King of the Ring finals happening there? I guess they must be, right? I don't know that for sure. I may have made that up. But ultimately, once again, from a headline point of view, well, I think there's two things to talk about. One, this came out of nowhere. I mean, CM Punk was feuding with Seth Rollins, who did actually come out here and wave his briefcase around, so he'll probably get involved, I imagine. And John Cena, I thought, as we talked about in the video yesterday, it'd be John Cena versus R-Truth at Night of Champions. Because, yeah, you have the King of the Ring final, so that could be your distraction, but clearly we're not doing that. But it is CM Punk and John Cena, just to repeat myself. That is a huge match, especially because we flipped the reverse here, right? CM Punk is a good guy and John Cena is the bad guy. Nobody would have believed you if I told you that back in November 2023 when CM Punk did arrive. They also wouldn't have believed you if I told you it happened in Saudi Arabia. Again, a different conversation for a different day. But I find it fascinating because I don't think CM Punk's going to be the guy to beat him for the title. He even said, John Cena, you haven't beaten the best of us, even though you think you have. You did defeat Cody Rhodes, but you did it by cheating. And he kind of laid this out as he's doing this for the people. He needs to win that championship back. John Cena wants to ruin wrestling. And, the title's corrupted him. It was very Star Wars. And he even compared that to his 2013 title run with Paul Heyman, 454 days, whatever the flub it was, when it got inside his head too. And that maybe he's been scared about going after the championship, but now he realizes it's better in his hands than it is John Cena. So no, it's not Star Wars. It's Lord of the Rings. This is the One Ring. And Gollum needs to come in. Ultimately, for me, if we can open the door a little bit with the promos and give them a bit more freedom. Not that we didn't have it here, but it's very much like John Cena says his stuff and CM Punk says his stuff, which is fine for the first one. But these are two guys that should be shooting at the hip and firing off shots, and you see how the other one responds, much like Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, which was the feud of last year, or at least one of them. But we have time, right? There's a few weeks before Night of Champions. But it just shocked me that this is the match that we were going to do. But when you start a Raw off like this, that by the end of the night was going to be pure fire, it does get you pretty damn pumped, because again, there's few matches bigger from a star power point of view than CM Punk and John Cena, and they always have this amazing chemistry. Go back and watch what they did at the Elimination Chamber. Since the Elimination Chamber, John Cena's had a lot of one-on-one matches. I am not one of these people, but certain individuals thinks that they're not working in the way that they would have assumed they would have done, which is a perfectly fair criticism too. I think everything that John Cena has brought works very where he is currently in his career, if that makes any sense. But it was a different John Cena at the Chamber, and I think that has something to do with CM Punk, right? You always have your favorite dance partner or someone that you just click with, and I think those two tick that box. So I'm massively intrigued about this, because CM Punk doesn't take a lot of losses. I can't remember the last time he was pinned. It probably was Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam last year, whenever the flub it was. John Cena, I don't believe is going to lose that championship. How does Cody Rhodes get involved into this? He isn't the King of the Ring. Is that how he kind of spins off? Because you have to imagine that John Cena will want to talk to him as well, after he did get pinned at Money in the Bank, and then yes, you've got the R-Truth outlier as well. But this then goes back to what we were talking about. There is so much to dive into. And what happens with Gunther? I mean, Seth Rollins now feels like he's being drawn towards John Cena because CM Punk is there. Does Gunther have a free ride? Is Jey Uso going to go back after Gunther? What does Jey Uso do? Does he get another championship? Does he get another tag team with Jimmy Uso? He isn't really doing that much, all things considered, and is feuding with the Bloodline. We've just opened up the door to do a lot. And I think if you can capitalize this on 7 days and keep this energy there, then yeah, Raw will start going back up, and maybe it's been treading water for a good few weeks. And there was other stuff on here as well, because Roxanne Perez qualified for the Elimination Chamber. What? No, the King of the Ring, or the Queen of the Ring, I should say. And that's a huge win for her, especially because Rhea Ripley was in that match. Was a bit lame that Raquel Rodriguez pulled Rhea Ripley out the ring, but again, we've talked about distraction, interference, confusion over and over again. And AJ Styles versus Chad Gable, ain't no one going to get mad about that. But yes, Roxanne Perez is through. I don't think she will win. I think it'll be Jade Cargill, but you could do Roxy versus Jade. The height difference alone would make for a super fun match. And like I say, Sami Zayn is one step closer. I think that's going to go bad. If you're a Sami Zayn fan, I would be advocating that he doesn't win. Because I think if you don't like the sound of Jey Uso losing, well, it's about to get a lot worse. But yeah, a super duper Raw, like really fun. There are still issues with the show, which is a shame. Like the Raw tag team division just doesn't exist. You got the New Day propping it up, one of the best tag teams ever. I don't understand that at all. I find it quite baffling, really, because the SmackDown division is in such a good place. But I guess you could argue the opposite, right? The IC Championship for the women is some of the best stuff on the show. And then you go over to SmackDown. The US title is just weird. I don't know what is going on with it, but I think Julia's probably going to win it from Zelina Vega soon. And you had Nikki Bella coming back to talk about what that show's called, Evolution. Let's call it Revolution. That's not right. Evolution 2, Electric Boogaloo. And of all the people to interrupt was Liv Morgan. Now, this is the right thing to do. I'll take Nikki Bella versus Liv Morgan at that show. But Nikki Bella, she didn't stand a chance. These people people loved Liv Morgan. It got quite frosty too. Liv said, I've got respect, I've got a title. I talked about this on Ups and Downs. Make sure you go watch Ups and Downs too. Trust me, they're very different flavors of shows, so you can enjoy me twice if you can even handle me once. But, you know, you mentioned her women's tag team title that's never getting defended, which makes me very, very mad. And the fact she has a man. But that's because Nikki Bella got divorced. I was like, shit, son. I wasn't ready for that. And then the one that really got Nikki Bella to get back in the ring, though, was like, you're just a crappy reality star. That's fine. I'll be like, it's my job. What are you going to do about it? I've made a successful living out of it. But Liv Morgan did drop her with the Oblivion. So maybe she loses to Nikki Bella in a few weeks' time. Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio are in this weird, like, middle ground. We saw the stuff backstage with the Judgment Day 2 and Finn Balor still being like, I'm going to troll your ass. I don't think Finn Balor can turn face. I think it has to be Dom and Liv, which is super interesting because maybe Raquel has to turn as well. But I just like that Nikki Bella stuff. Like, it did go off the rails. It was all over the place. I'm not pretending otherwise. But I just think it was Liv Morgan. She entertains me. I think she's really good. And she's really taken her 2024. I mean, she was in a movie, but she's getting her momentum back ever since she has returned. I think the Judgment Day probably need to break up soon, as do Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They were arguing twice on this show. What do you need to break up? Like, what is it, like a prenup and you're arguing about who gets what? By this stage, I think they got to stay together. We need flipping tag teams on Raw, and we're taking tag teams away. Oh my gosh, it's totally nuts. But this is just sort of minor quibbles. And yes, way too much distractions for sure. Or interference or confusion, depending what it is. I'm excited about the LA Knight Seth Rollins stuff. I imagine it'll be LA Knight versus Seth Rollins in Saudi Arabia. It's a shame because LA Knight will lose, but it's a really good position for him to be in. Like, if he's never going to get to the super upper echelons, which is a lot of people's fears, that's a solid place to be because they'll screw him too. So he'll always be protected, LA Knight. I think he's doing really well. But it was, as I said on Ups and Downs, it's a golden up episode of Raw. You could probably argue that some things were golden up worthy. I kind of upped the things I wanted to give up to. And there's downs too. People act like I don't give downs. I always do. But in terms of everything that they unleashed, for a stupid term, absolutely. You couldn't ask for a more interesting and more fun Raw. Across the board as well. It's like every 10 minutes something was happening. You're like, oh my gosh. And I'm sure there's things I've probably forgotten to talk about as well. But I think, listen, I'm pumped for John Cena versus CM Punk. Of course I am. I think most people would be. But it's the Jey Uso Gunther thing that's really got my goat at the moment. No, that means it's a bad thing. I'm intrigued by it. Because I think Jey Uso is this incredible babyface. Again, got an awesome reaction here. He did kind of get his ass kicked too. Like, because again, he'd allowed himself to be injured. It's just a really good story with depth. And I think we need to call those things out in all of wrestling when they do happen. The fact they put those seeds in place, I think most of it just went, oh, that's just like a mechanic to make us think he's going to lose, but he's not going to lose. But he did. And then you can accept it. It's a bit like New Japan does it every now and then, or quite often, really. If a wrestler comes back from a long layoff, they don't win their first match back, which is a very American way to do it. They lose. And the story is, well, you've been away for a year. You've been rehabbing. You're not going to be any good. So really tremendous stuff. Really good Raw. I don't think you have to go watch the whole thing now, but I'd certainly go watch highlights and take in the sort of big pops and watch the R-Truth promo. That can't be longer than 5 minutes, or the Wrong Killings, I should say. Got to get out of that habit. I'm so excited about what we're going to do. He really is one of my guys. It's such a shame that sometimes you have to go through the depths of hell, word too extreme, to realize how much you like someone. But he was fired a week ago. Don't come in my comments with this work nonsense. Actually do, because YouTube likes engagement. This was very real. And to come back in such a way and totally reignite your character and probably be featured more, that dude is a hero. Anyway, talking about comments, let me know what you think. I probably said some things you don't like. You can call me out. That's what life is all about. I am not precious. I respect your opinion. You don't even have to respect mine. Prefer if you did, but you don't have to. Like the video, share it, and subscribe. Click the notification bell. Click the video on the screen, which is me talking about R-Truth and basically pitching for him to win the WWE title, which I doubly think now. Don't even care. Life is about moments, especially wrestling. Otherwise, yes, it is patreon.com/Simon316. Come sign up and join our watch-alongs. Someone mentioned me yesterday saying they're really funny. So they're probably not, but I've said it now. Let's hope they are. GorillaMind.com/Simon. You just go to Simon to get 10% off. There is a link down there in the description. It ships worldwide and you won't find better supplements. I'm not trying to sell these to you. Well, I am, but I believe in them. Otherwise, I wouldn't put them on the channel. Simon J. Miller. That's not right. Simon316 on all social media. Simon J. Miller on TikTok. Simon on Cameo. Appreciate all the Father's Days ones I've done recently. A Big Cartel and Pro Wrestling Tees for my merchandise. Again, it's all stuff down there if you want to support the channel. More importantly, put a smile on your face. Keep enjoying wrestling. Remember, you do matter and everybody loves you, and you're going to go out there today and you're going to kick some ass. Sounds good? Fist bump. See you soon.